Okay, welcome. We're going to work some sample problems here on this dimensional analysis business. This first problem comes from the lecture notes. If you're following along, if you can't read this for whatever reason, it has to do with speaker wire, okay? So a long time ago, if you had a stereo in your house and you didn't have these Bluetooth speakers that you could just stream to, you actually had to run a wire that maybe you could buy down at the local hardware store, okay? So this problem says that you need 325 centimeters of the speaker wire to wire the stereo, and the wire sells for 15 cents per foot. So what is it going to cost you? What is going to be the price to make this happen? Okay, so this is essentially kind of an application of a dimensional analysis problem. We start with what we know, just like we always do. It's 325 centimeters is the required quantity. That number is generally given to you in the problem. And then we're going to multiply by a conversion factor. Now before we figure out what our conversion factor is going to be here, I think we need to kind of talk about a strategy. We kind of have to have a direction for this problem to go, or else it's going to get kind of crazy, right? So what's going to be our direction? Well, we're given centimeters as our distance or length unit. But the problem is if we look over here at the price, it's sold per foot, not per centimeters. So what we really need to do, I think, is convert to feet of the wire that's necessary. And once we know how many feet we need, we can quickly figure out how much it's going to cost us. So that's going to be the strategy here. It's a centimeters to foot conversion. Now, the conversion factors that I've been given is that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, and also 12 inches equals a foot. So these are going to help me out. So my first step then is to convert my centimeters into inches. So my conversion factor, you always put the undesirable units in the denominator. That's centimeter. And you always put your desirable units up top. Those were the ones that you want to convert to. Okay. Now my conversion factor tells me that 2.54 centimeters is equivalent to an inch. So these two are physically equivalent distances. So I can write my conversion factor just like that. Quickly do the math on this on my calculator. When I do so, I find that I require 128 inches, okay? 128 inches. If I consider significant figures here, I'm doing a division. This has got 3 significant figures. This has also got 3. So I end up with 3 over here, okay? Because the number is conserved through the calculation for multiplication or division. Right? So now I know how many inches of wire, but the problem is that my price is still per foot, right? So I need to take this 128 inches, convert it to feet. So hopefully you can see where we're going with this. We put our undesirable units, the ones that we want to cancel out, in the bottom, just like they cancel it out here. And we put our desirable unit up top. Now that's feet, or foot here, if you want to call it that, okay? So 1 foot is, of course, 12 inches. By definition, 1 foot is 12 inches. So if we do the math on this one, we come to the quick realization that we need 10.7 feet of this speaker wire to make this work, okay? And we're still not at the final answer because we want to know the price. So we know that wiring our stereo requires 10.7 feet. But ultimately, what information do we want? We want the cost. Okay? Which is essentially going to be in dollars here in a second. Okay? Now how do we get there? Well, now we need a conversion factor that's not necessarily length to length or inches to centimeters, length to length type of thing, but we need a conversion factor that goes between 2 different variables. So this one's almost kind of like density, but there's nothing that says that this approach is going to fail us here, okay? Let's talk about that for a second. So if I was to ask you what the cost of this speaker wire is, in the problem we were told that it cost us 15 cents for every 1 foot. That's the cost. Now those are very different units. This is a monetary value. This is a length. What's the cost per foot? Right? 1 foot costs us this 15 cents. So in our transaction or economic transaction, those things are kind of equal, okay, or equivalent quantities. So the feet unit cancels, or foot unit cancels, and we just do the multiplication, and we're at our cost, okay? And if we do that, we'll find that it'll cost us only $1.60. That's what we're going to have to pay at the hardware store to bring home this wire, okay? Sample problem 1.